Bitcoin is going to see a huge breakout of this formation soon. There was happening a lot for Bitcoin during this week and I will tell you everything about it in this video. I will have a look on several time frames with you and I will also have a look at the two altcoins Vechain and PEPE. But later about that in this video. There's a lot of interesting news coming into the market, so watch this video all the way to the end, like and subscribe, and let's dive right into the charts. Bitcoin opened its CME gap at the $59,231. And we are seeing that we are now trading around this level. I expect that Bitcoin is going to trade around this level during the weekend, just like every time we are seeing a CME gap is getting opened. I think the CME gap is getting closed after this weekend on Monday, so that will leave no gap behind us and then we can just trade freely. And of course, there could be a weekend pump or a weekend dump, but eventually 9 out of 10 times the price will come back to close the CME gap, and I believe that's exactly what we're going to see. I don't expect a lot of volatility during the weekend, and on Monday we can maybe expect some fireworks again. And on the 4-hour time frame we can see this huge formation for Bitcoin is unfolding. We can see the price is getting squeezed into this apex, and we can see multiple touchpoints on the top side as resistance and multiple touchpoints on the downside as support. And eventually, as I was saying, this price is getting squeezed into this apex and we're going to see a big breakout soon. So of course this could happen during the weekend, but I don't expect a lot of volatility during the weekend, so I expect that we're going to see a breakout during the beginning of the next week. We are either going to see a break to the top side or a break to the downside, of course, and these are the two scenarios for Bitcoin. But if we're going to see the bullish scenario playing out, we have to wait for a confirmation that the 4-hour candle is closing above this resistance area. Then I'm going to wait for a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support. From here I'm going to enter the market in the long and aim for higher targets. And the same can happen on the downside. If we're going to see the bearish scenario playing out, we are going to see a break to the downside, a retest of this previous support to turn it into resistance, and then we can come back for lower prices. So these are the two trades you can take if this huge formation is going to break out for Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. And let me know in the comments what you think about this formation and if we're going to see a bullish break or a bearish break. And the Bitcoin ETFs had a very interesting day yesterday. We can see we had an inflow of $35 million and almost $36 million, so that is a very positive day for the Bitcoin ETFs. We are also seeing that Grayscale is still selling their Bitcoin onto the market, and they almost are selling $20 billion in Bitcoin, so that is insane, of course. And in total we saw an inflow of BlackRock for more than $20 billion, so they are leveling each other out. And now we're back at almost the $17.5 billion of inflow, so that is looking very bullish for the spot ETFs in the first 7 months. I'm discussing with you that I want to see this spike to the top side just like we saw 3 times before, and I want to see this spike to the top side again, and that would have a very positive effect for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're going to see a big spike, then we can maybe create a new all-time high for Bitcoin. And the Ethereum ETFs had a little bit of a bearish day. We saw a $15 million outflow. BlackRock bought for $10 million in Ethereum, but Grayscale is still selling their portion. But it looks like they are selling less and less, and eventually they are out of Ethereum, of course, and they are the selling pressure from the Grayscale ETF is going to cool off, and the price will go up once Grayscale is done selling and the other ETFs are going to buy more. And if we have a look on the daily time frame, we can see Bitcoin is in this downtrend after this creating of this all-time high. We can see we are creating lower highs eventually, and now we created a lower high as well. We also are creating lower lows, so that is a little bit bearish because we are in this huge downtrend. But if we are approaching it like this, we can see a huge run up, and now we are seeing a lot of consolidation to the side. So I think we are going to need to prepare ourselves for a huge big move, and I expect that we're going to see a move to the top side because we can approach it a little bit like this, like a bull flag, and I will tell you everything about it later in the video. So for now we are in this downtrend on the daily time frame, and I want to see a new higher high, so I want to gain this high, then create a new higher low, and from there we can see a trend reversal happening for Bitcoin. But before that, the trend is still down, so we have to be patient that we are going to see trend reversal soon for Bitcoin. And earlier this week I've been talking about this huge resistance for Bitcoin on the daily time frame with multiple touch points here and in the past as support and resistance. Just like earlier this week, we saw a big rejection to the downside, so we now have to aim for lower levels. So let's see if Bitcoin can maybe come back to this resistance level and eventually force a break to the top side and create more bullish momentum, because we created this low and now we want to see a higher low for Bitcoin. And of course we also created a high and we want to see a higher high for Bitcoin. So from here, we can maybe create a trend reversal to the top side. And after that, we want to gain this high just like I said. And we want to create more bullish price action to eventually see this huge trend reversal happening for Bitcoin. And there's also very interesting news coming from Dubai. Dubai court recognizes cryptocurrency for seller repayment. So this is beautiful to see because a lot of people are working in Dubai and they're also very pro Bitcoin. They will maybe getting paid in Bitcoin later this year. And this will have a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin because a lot of people are getting Bitcoin and they are not going to sell it right away. So more people are going to hold Bitcoin, and that could only have a very bullish price effect for Bitcoin. Earlier I was talking about this bull flag formation for Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. We can see this huge run up and now we are seeing sideways consolidation. And we are already for 23 weeks inside of this bull flag formation. So we are preparing ourselves for a huge breakout. So of course we can either see a break to the downside, but last week we saw a huge wick and this support is holding strong for now. So I expect that we're going to see more bullish price action and eventually revisit this topside resistance. And from there we can maybe force a break to the top side, retest this previous resistance as support, and then see a big exponential move to the top side. And the breakout target of this bull flag formation will be the $180,000. So that's an insane gain, of course. But for now we have to be a little bit patient. That is a bull flag formation is eventually going to see a break. We are still a little bit at the lower side of this bull flag. So let's see if Bitcoin can revisit this topside resistance. And of course this resistance is also very strong because we can see a lot of resistance coming into the market and big rejections from this level. This will be the biggest level for Bitcoin to gain on the weekly time frame. And from there we can of course create a new all-time high if we see a break to the top side. And if we have a look at the monthly time frame, we can see a lot of resistance coming into the market in the last bull run. We saw 2 rejections from this resistance area. And earlier this year we gained this resistance level and now we are seeing a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support. So if this monthly candle was going to close above this level, we are going to see a bullish retest again. And we are seeing a lot of support coming into the market here. So if we're going to see a green close for this monthly candle of August, I think that we're going to see the next exponential move to the top side. So this monthly chart is looking very bullish in my opinion. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Vechain. On a weekly time frame we can see Vechain is creating this huge support and resistance area. And yeah, we are currently back at this support area. We don't want to see a break below it, because otherwise we have to aim for bear market lows around the 1.5 cents. So we want to see a bounce from this level, of course. So and if we then zoom in on a daily time frame, we can see that Vechain is currently back at this support area on the lower side. So we want to see a bounce from this level, just like we saw earlier. Of course, this could also be a very interesting place to buy more Vechain. And we want to see a revisit of this huge resistance on the top side. And we're seeing this huge downward sloping resistance line for Vechain. So eventually this will be the first big resistance to break. And if we're going to see a bullish break, I expect that we're going to see a retest of the previous resistance, turn it into support, and then aim for higher prices. And also this horizontal level will be a very interesting level because we can see multiple touch points in the past as resistance and support. So this could be a very interesting first take profit place if you bought at these lows, and it will be around the 3.3 cents. And the breakout target of this huge formation will be the top side of the formation, and that will be around the 5 cents. So from here, this is still a very impressive gain to make. But for now, we have to see if Vechain can see a bounce from this level and eventually create more bullish price action. And another interesting meme coin I want to have a look at is PEPE. PEPE is like the Dogecoin of this cycle, and we saw a lot of bullish price action earlier in this year. And this horizontal level is now functioning as resistance and support. And currently PEPE is falling below this level. We already retested this support as resistance and now we are seeing a rejection from this point. So I have to paint this horizontal level red because this is the first big resistance now. And maybe we can see a revisit of this resistance and eventually force a break to the top side. But for now it's looking a little bit more bearish than bullish. And the first big support will be around this level for PEPE, because in the past we can see multiple touch points here as support. So this could be a very interesting level to buy more PEPE in the coming weeks if we're coming back to this level. And just like here, we saw a beautiful bounce to the top side. So there are 2 scenarios for PEPE possible. We are going to see a revisit of this resistance on the top side, or we are coming back down to this lower side support. And of course we can also see a big sideways consolidation in this range, but eventually I think that PEPE is going to create new all-time highs this bull cycle, so buying at these places is not a very bad thing to do. Please give a like if you find the video useful, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.